I don't know. Might be earwax. Who knows what it is? Could be beeswax. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to do a lot of fun things today. I love the show today. I absolutely love the show today. It'll be fun. It'll be interactive. You can throw bricks at the radio, whatever you want to do. We're going to bring it today. So we're happy to be here. If you miss any of this, of course, you know what to do. Podcast this, download the ESPN 700 Sports app, get ESPN700sports.com, and technology yourself into knowledge and information and entertainment. Okay. I I used an analogy on this show yesterday to kind of describe what it felt like was happening with this Utah football team. And the analogy was about the player that has to get drug tested. And a lot of times when a player goes to get drug tested, they have a hard time giving the test. There's somebody watching, and that makes you nervous. It's made me nervous before in the past. And so for whatever reason, when you got to perform under the lights when someone's watching, it's been a challenge for this Utah football team this year. 2 big games, did not play their best, and that's unfortunate. So I got me thinking about drug testing, player drug testing. It's a very common thing that happens. It's random. It's now year round. It's for typically substances that give a disadvantage or an advantage in performance. So performance enhancing drugs, most notably steroids. Now, the players are creative these days, and they use all kinds of things, and they will use anything. Like players will use, like, at whatever cost. If this helps me to perform better, if it helps me to overcome my injuries, my bumps and bruises, if I can get back on the field. And there's a million things out there. And there's a million things out there that are positive and good. There used to be, you used to have chiropractors. And players would go, and the chiropractors were a huge taboo. Oh, no, no, no. No, you don't go to a chiropractors were considered like whack jobs. Like you don't go to a chiropractor. Now, if you've ever been to one, it's pretty amazing. And I actually went to a chiropractor, and it was like it changed some things that I had going on. So now chiropractors are a very common thing. One of the things that players are doing these days, I find fascinating, is they're going to places like Mexico. I'll just tell you right now, I wouldn't go to Mexico if my life depended on it. I don't care where it is. Puerto Vallarta. I say that facetiously. I know what the real name is, but I like to say Vallarta. It's kind of it's just a fun word, Vallarta. It sounds like George Bush is saying it. Yeah, we can go to Puerto Vallarta. And he kind of shakes his head. I don't know. It just kind of sounds like him. Anyways, yeah, I wouldn't go to Mexico if my life depended on it. And of course, they go to Tijuana. He kind of says it like it's a question. Tijuana. Anyways, this stem cell regeneration is a big thing. And people swear by it, not necessarily kosher. It's not a banned substance. But my point is that these players will go anywhere, do anything to get an edge. And the edge is sometimes just to perform at a high level. Like it's really hard. It's really hard when the grind of an NFL season. Like it's a lot. And you hear these players, they complain about shortened preseasons and longer seasons. So we're at 17 games. We're going to go to 18 games, and everyone's going to end up going over to Europe. Like that's where the NFL is going. And the players are like, man, long travel, long season, wears my body out. But the league's also said, we're not going to really training camp's kind of easy now. We don't beat up your bodies like we used to. You can't hit anybody like you used to. The NFL is a big proponent of flag football, And that's probably where the NFL is headed. I mean, think about, they're putting flag football in the Olympics, and the NFL is behind it. The NFL actually is allowing their players to participate in flag football. Just so you know, NFL players aren't necessarily the best flag football. It's a different game. And I've watched NFL players get embarrassed by some flag footballers. Flag football is kind of like Frisbee golf. Like Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy will not do well in Frisbee golf. Not like the Frisbee golfers. Same thing. Flag football is just a different deal. And I think the NFL players clearly have the athleticism to be amazing, but it's a skill set that you have to train and develop. And you don't necessarily have to be like superstar NFL guy to do it. Anywho, so getting back to this whole concept of drug testing, I want to share with you kind of some down and dirty on drug testing. So back in the day, you would get a letter, and the letter would give you the day that you had to report to training camp. So it'd come in the mail. And it had, it listed, here's the day that you arrive. Here's, and it was different, because quarterbacks typically showed up a little bit earlier. They had rookies typically showed up a little bit earlier, veterans give you hotel accommodations or wherever you were staying, accommodations, kind of an itinerary where to be. And of course they would fly you, provide transportation for you to get to training camp. Now I just lived where I played, so I got my car, drove there. And then they would list the days that you were to be drug tested. And they were in bold print. The only thing in bold print, not the day you showed up, the day you drug tested. Like that was the most important piece of information that you were supposed to get when you reported to training camp. Now, at that time, there was no random drug testing. There was no off-season drug testing. There was nothing. You got drug tested once a year. And the interesting part about it is the drug tests were not on the same day. And you were tested for performance-enhancing drugs, basically steroids at the time, and street drugs. Those are the two, and they were not, okay, you're going to be tested on the same day at the same time. They were different days. So what this was telling people, and never at one point ever in my career, and we had a bunch of meetings about the do's and don'ts about playing in the NFL. And not one time did they say, don't take drugs. Never. In fact, we had a player meeting with our rep from the Players Association. So you have these meetings, and they have the Player Association annual meetings, and your player rep goes to the meeting. And then the player rep comes back with all of the information that they discussed, things they voted on, so you knew kind of where you stood in the union. And that's a whole other conversation. I'm just telling you, it's fascinating history about the NFL and how free agency came to pass. Maybe someday I'll share some of that, because it's pretty cool stuff. Just Gene Upshaw and the whole lawsuits and all that, and trading cards and players crossing picket lines and scab. It's a fascinating story in the NFL, which believe it or not, I actually play. I don't want to say. Well, I was a named lawsuit again. I sued the NFL, and my name was on a lawsuit. And people are like, you're nuts to do that. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about that today, but it's a great thing. Martin, write that down. We'll talk about how NFL free agency came into existence. We'll talk about it on a show sometime. Anyway, so you have all these meetings, beginning of training camp. You sit down, and it's hours. It's like the first 2 nights whenever you have team meetings after practices, and you have the night meetings, and it's just training camp is just such a grind. Ugh. Anyways, never once did they say don't take drugs. And in our player rep meeting, the player rep would come back and say the same thing. He didn't say no, don't take drugs. He said, make sure that you get on the league substance abuse program. Because if you do, you'll never get kicked out of the league. But if you don't, and you get tested positive for this is like street drugs, like, marijuana and stuff like that. Which today I don't think they probably don't test for it. I would bet you $1,000, and I don't know this, but I would speculate and bet that, because it's legal in so many states, and everybody does it. Not me. I'm drug free, proud of it. Anyways, he just said, just if you get on the plan, you won't get suspended or banned from the league, which they do if you go through these strikes, and 3 strikes you're out, kind of thing. And so, but if you're on the program, if you go, hey, I've got a drug problem, then you're out. Now, Brett Favre, if you remember, he had to publicly admit he had a problem because he didn't, and then they kind of caught him, and he was the poster child for the NFL, and the NFL's like, yeah, we're not going to have our star of our league kicked out. So here's what you're going to do, Brett. You're going to go to rehab. You're going to publicly, apologize and say, your thing, and then you're on your merry way. So my point is, drugs are, in my opinion, a joke in the NFL. And yet you were drug tested. So this one time a year you were drug tested. Okay, so going back, and they gave you the date, so you could get through a cycle if you were on steroids, and then you wouldn't test positive, or if you were smoking marijuana or whatever else you were doing, you had time to get it out of your system. So you knew the time clock, and that was the whole purpose. It was just to give you enough ample warning, not what time the season started or what time you were to report to camp, but get those gosh darn drugs out of your system before you get here. And so there was no war on drugs. There was no, this isn't right, this isn't fair. I believe that the league looked at this. Again, it's just my opinion. I agree, or I believe they said, look, because I think it would be brutally hard for a player, like an offensive, defensive lineman, linebackers, running backs, some of these guys, that that the guy you're competing against, or you're assuming that he's been on drugs, performance enhancing drugs. So he's chemically altered his body, and so he's stronger than you. He's faster than you. He's bigger than you, and that means he's going to beat you. And so you go, look, I want to play this game. I want to compete. And right, wrong, or indifferent, the only way I'm going to compete, because everybody's doing it, I got to do it too. And I believe there's this vicious cycle that existed for forever. And I believe that players had to have that mindset. Now, whether they'd ever admit it or not, because there's something weird about it. It's like, obviously everyone did. I mean, let's just look at people. I would run into offensive linemen, 10 years after they were done playing, and they were skinnier than I was. Like it's someone poked them with a pin and the balloon popped. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait just a gosh darn minute here. And then me, who was skinny when I played, now I'm like, you would think I'm on performance enhancing drugs. I'm on them because I'm retired. And you have to have a certain physique when you're retired, and you have to look a certain way. So that's where I am. Now, it changed. So then they were going to be really serious about it. And they do random drug testing. And you would get tested throughout the year. Okay. Now, here's the part that I just rolled my eyes at. So the random testing means, they just randomly select some players, and you get noticed, and you have to test within 24 hours of being noticed. And usually you would get the notice like at the end of the day, And so you'd go in the morning, or you'd get it during the day and you'd go in after practice or something like that. It was always either in the morning or after practice is when you would ultimately have to do it. And so guess who always got random drug tests? Like, if you could pick all the positions on a football field, which ones would you guess would be the random drug testers? Quarterbacks? Yes. Kickers? Yep. Punters? Uh-huh. Wide receivers? Uh-huh. Defensive backs? Yep. All the people that don't need to be tested are the ones that were constant. There was one season, okay, so there's 16 regular season games. I was random drug tested 8 weeks one season. And I'm a guy going, and I went into the testing guy. And I said, seriously? Really? I go, I'm trying to lose weight every week. I'm not trying to gain weight. I'm not trying to get bigger, stronger. I'm trying to slim down, dude. And you're seriously going to test me for the 7th or 8th time now? Like something's going to magically happen from last week to this week? And he says, you'd be surprised. And I go, quarterbacks? No, I wouldn't. No, don't give me that. Do not give me that. And he said it with a straight face. And I just call BS on that. Again, so there's this whole idea like, yes, we're going to really take drug testing and drugs serious and all this stuff. No, they're not. No, they're not. Now, every year everyone would get tested at the beginning of the season. And you're starting a season, so there's some anxiety to it. You know, you've worked out, you worked really hard, and you're going to camp, and you know, what are you going to look like, and how are you going to perform? What's the team going to be like? And you're nervous, and you're amped up, you're excited, you know, and you got all this stuff you got to do, and it's exhausting. And they have performance that, you know, like weight tests, and like how strong are you right now, and how fast are you, and how agile are you compared to years past. So you got to go, and there's a conditioning test, which is so stupid, by the way, because it's like, first of all, players just keep in shape. And second of all, most of how they test you conditioning wise never applies to football. Like, I think you could almost be out of shape and play football because you're not running that much. Like your a play is like 5-10 minutes, or not 5 or 10 seconds, right? Maybe. And the distance you go. Now, if you're wide receiver, defensive back, you got to run all day long. Linebackers today, yeah, you probably got to run all day. Quarterbacks, yeah, maybe a little bit. Okay, fine. You got to be in some shape, but not the shape. They had it like we were running a marathon. Anyways, you go through all this stuff and you're like nervous. You're just like, oh my goodness. And then they go, okay, you got a drug test. And I'm going to tell you, I hated drug testing, and I didn't do well at it. I was not a good performer. And that's why I use this reference to the Utah. Like, there were times, and so you go in and you have a time, you have a scheduled time, and they're just trying to get everybody done. You know, you got 80 players, right? Because you go to camp with 80 guys. So it's like 80 players, and they're trying to, it's like, okay. And if you're a veteran, you get the better times because you get up right out of bed. And you think if you just get up right out of bed, you got to go. And then on top of it, you have a weigh-in. Now, weigh-ins were a sensitive subject for me. And so I couldn't be sitting there drinking a bunch of water because then I'd be bloated and then I'd be overweight. So I had this dilemma, and I would go do the test. Couldn't do it. You're in an open stall, and this guy's standing there watching you. And like, he's watching you. Like, he's bent over his knees down there going, okay, come on, young man. And then he goes, hang on, I got to get on my spectacles. I got to get my readers on. I can't see. So he's down there. Nah, not anything working here. You know, I guess we're going to have to put you in the bullpen. And you're like, no. Give me a second. You know, and so you're trying every trick in the book. Jumping up and down, turning on the water on the faucet, putting your hand under the faucet, just anything to kind of goose you. Come on. And you got to go, just so you know, but you can't. And I'm telling you, so many guys went through this. So when you can't go, they put you in the bullpen. So you're sitting there, and then all these other players come by, and they're dancing. They're just like they're so full they got to go. They're like, come on, man, get out of the way, get out of the way, I gotta go. And they just go, no problem, no issue whatsoever. And I'm just sitting over there, oh man, I can't. And I'm just telling you, this was the worst thing in the world to go through. Worst thing in the world. If there was only one thing, well, there are two things. Okay, there are three things that I dreaded going to training camp. Drug testing, hated it. It was all in my mind. I was so psyched out about it. And then finally I go to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom for about 4.5 hours, because you sit in the bullpen and they make you drink water. So you just sit there and there's just water, and you just drink until you can go to the bathroom. And it's just awful. So it's drug testing. It's all the stupid meetings I had to sit through. And it's the fact that the first week of training camp, there was no football games. And those are the three things. Other than that, everything was gravy and good. I have some sad news to report. By the way, this is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. I am Scott Mitchell, by the way, if you didn't know. And we're just sitting here chatting on ESPN 700.921 FM. Talking about drug testing. Of course, now we have some sad news to report. We are talking about our adopted teams lost in the World Series. Sons of man. So the Brewers, they're out. And of course, the Mariners, who have never been to the World Series, are out. Shouldn't be out. They had a tough. Oh man, they were up 3-1. Manager comes in, pulls a pitcher, brings in a guy who's pitched a lot in the playoffs, but maybe pitched too much. He was tired. Got to get out the meat of the order for the Blue Jays, and of course, hangs a sinker, boom, and 3-run home run, and our Mariners are out. And a lot of people questioning his call there, and it was kind of who he brought into the game. Got one of the best closers, multi-inning closers in all of baseball, and he left him, and so that guy has to sit all winter long, and they got to live with this all winter long, and this amazing season that the Mariners had, and Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, and who hit a home run in the game, and so they're out, and the Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays are in. I'm just curious if anyone out there thinks, like, are we excited if a team from Canada who's in our leagues, are we excited that they're in the championship? Like the Toronto Raptors, they won the NBA a few years ago. Were you excited about that? Are you excited about the Blue Jays?
I am. I am for sure.
I know Joe Carter was. I mean, he was exciting. So you're excited about it then, Martin?
I am. I'm just excited about anybody who's trying to defeat the Dodgers. I mean, I'm on that ride right now where like Dodgers are ruining baseball. They're the Yankees. What? They're the Yankees of our time. They're always in the World Series. They never go away. They're in the playoffs. They win everything. They spend the money. They're greedy and they want all the championships. That's what they want, and that's fine. But I hope anybody can take them down.
Now, I was a Dodgers fan growing up, and the Yankees used to beat them, and I used to hate the Yankees. And I'm still a Dodgers fan, so I'm not totally heartbroken about this World Series. But Shohei Ohtani, come on, like we were talking earlier in the year about how, man, maybe he shouldn't be pitching, and maybe just needs to focus on hitting. And it's like he said, I hear you guys on the Down and Dirty, and here's what I have to say. He gave us the finger.
He did.
He gave us the finger, and so I can cheer for Shohei. Like I equate the Dodgers to him. And I know he was a bot player and he came over and all this stuff. But I just love when someone comes with all this hype and just is unfreaking believable and lives up to it. I think that's amazing. I really do. I love it. I love how he's performed. And there's a part of me which is really weird because it's like I hate the Lakers. I don't like the Los Angeles Lakers. But I like Magic. I don't know what it is. I like Magic Johnson, and of course Magic Johnson is one of the owners. And I think it's comical when he gets up there with his baseball stuff on, when they beat the Yankees last year in the World Series. And I like it. I don't know why. I like former players who are actually they're owners now. Like I like that Tom Brady's an owner of the Raiders. And all I want is Tom Brady to get a haircut like Mark Davis. Then life will be complete right there.
Great coming up.
All right, let's talk about speaking of our friends. None other than Nate Orchard, who, of course, has just been inducted into the Utah Athletics Hall of Fame. And, of course, he is affectionately known as the mayor of Sac Lake City and former NFL superstar. You've also heard about Advanced Window Products. They're Utah's #1 window replacement company, and they have a new fall special. You get $2,500 off when you buy 10 windows or more. That's an amazing deal. They are a local company, and they're operated, of course, by Nate, who is the mayor of Sac Lake City. He's using his skills to help Utah homeowners save on energy bills with the most energy-efficient windows around. And by the way, I'm sold on it because he put windows in my house, and they're amazing. Just call Advanced Window Products at 801-850-9100 or visit advancedwindows.com. Don't miss out on $2,500 off when you buy 10 windows or more. Give the mayor a call today, 801-850-9100. You won't regret it. Advanced Window Products, building, installing, and guaranteeing the best windows in Utah. This is Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, ESPN 792.1 FM. I'm going to show you how smart I am when you come back. I got an amazing record so far on NFL weekly predictions. We're going to talk a little NFL stuff right around the corner. It is ESPN 792.1 FM. Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, right here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Of course, we're proud to be a part of the Utah ESPN radio network, and we're proud to be here with you. Hope you enjoy the show. We enjoyed doing it, and thank you for your patronage. Patronage. Patreonage. Anyways, we're glad you're here. Okay. I hate to do this. I really do. But I have been doing a good job. Not a good job, a fantastic job of picking NFL games. So I started doing this just a couple weeks ago. I don't know why I didn't do it before then. Of course, my picks for the Super Bowl, Detroit Lions and the San Diego / now Los Angeles Chargers. They're just so much better as the San Diego Chargers. They just were better. I don't know. It's weird.
Hey, real quick, Scott, I'm gonna steal the show here for a minute. But
man. Martin, you're always doing this.
I know.
Every day.
But how did you feel about those yellow bumblebee looking jerseys the Chargers wore against the Colts on Sunday? Was that an appealing look for you on with the Chargers? Speaking of them,
yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes people go a little too far. Dry or the magic marker color usually doesn't work well. Utah Jazz, not so much. I wasn't feeling it with the Jazz. And that's a marketer, a brand developer who just kind of, I don't know, didn't eat their lunch, got bored, picked the wrong color. Not my favorite look. Here, the powder blue and yellow, and I know they're just taking the yellow out and just saying, well, we'll just go yellow. And players get, oh yeah, that's dope. That's cool. Let's do that. And it's like, no. Like I'll just be kind of blunt with you, speaking since we're talking about it. I think a lot of these players that show up in what they think is fashion, I think it looks hideous. Like Jake from State Farm with his khakis, it looks better than that. Yeah, I just some of the stuff, wow. And I know it's like, I'll give you kind of an example of, I was just kind of shaking my head. RG3 at BYU with Cowboy. I don't know. It's just like,
I think him and Cam Newton have been talking a little bit too much about what their fashion is. Cam Newton's taking it a little too far sometimes too.
Yeah. Oh no. Cam was kind of someone I had in mind when I was saying this. And of course, there's another guy who's pretty much out there is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's out there. Joe Burrow's out there, and they go to Paris, right? And they're into fashion. I mean, this is the thing. And I know I'm probably poo-pooing the whole fashion world, and I am. Like I'm not into it. And I think and I like nice clothes. I like most people dress nicely, but I think some folks just take it a little too far. It's more about, I want to be outrageous and make a bold statement as opposed to, man, I just want to look really sharp. I want to look good. And so it's, one feels like, hey, it's all about me. And the other one feels like, I feel good in what I'm dressed in. So, okay. I thought it'd be interesting. Well, first of all, I was 12 of 14 this week. So I missed the Giants, who had a 26-point lead. And, of course, the Jaguars, who I thought were on the right track. But they're still a team you can't quite trust. That's good to know. So it's good information for the future. And maybe the Rams are a team you might be able to trust a little more. So that's good information as well. Anyways, I'm doing well. So we're gonna make some more picks on the weekend to see if I can keep this up or not. I don't bet the line. I don't predict the line. I predict just who I think is going to win and lose, because to me, that's all that should matter. And I know that that's not the case in the world. It's the betting odds. Like you got to give us points. You got to give us a chance. And it's like, well, if your team doesn't win, then don't bet on them. Like there's your chance right there. I mean, it's kind of simple. That doesn't, and I know it's like, well, what's the fun in that? And that's like, well, get a better team. And then, of course, I know fantasy football is a big deal, which is weird. And I kind of like fantasy football. I kind of didn't like it before, but I like it now. And I like the idea of building your own team managing your team. I think I can get into that. I totally could get into that. I think it's pretty cool. Okay. I wanted to look at the standings in the NFL, and I wanted to kind of say and look at the teams, and give you the top 7 teams in each division or each conference. And the reason I want to do that is because 7 teams from each conference make the playoffs, right? So here is kind of my midseason ish who I think are the top teams in the NFL at this point in the season. So let's go through this a little bit. We'll start in the AFC. And you have the AFC East. I still think Buffalo is one of the top teams, even though New England is leading the division. I think Pittsburgh is the top team in the AFC North. They have, they have the best record in there. I mean, it's crazy. They have a two-game lead on anyone, which is Cincinnati, who has another old geriatric quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts, I think, are there for real. Then you have this is an interesting one, and I think it's really you have the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So right now I have Buffalo as one team, Pittsburgh is 2, Indianapolis is 3, 4 I think is Kansas City, 5 I think is Denver, 6 I think is the Chargers, and 7 is the New England Patriots. And there's in my opinion right now, and I think this kind of holds true in each one of these divisions. It might be a little different in the NFC. It's a little harder. But you have one division. Of course, you have – now, I didn't pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm on the fence with them. And the Jaguars, the Patriots, the Chargers, who I picked to go to the Super Bowl, they're kind of on that fence. There's other teams, we'll get to them in just a minute, that I think Martin will be happy about. So now let's go to the NFC, okay? Philadelphia Eagles are 1. I'm going to say the Detroit Lions are 2. I'm not ranking them in order, by the way. Just saying here's the 7 teams I think will be in it at the end of the year. Tampa Bay is 3. And I'm going to go through. See, this is where it's hard because you've got the Seahawks, you have the Rams, and the 49ers. And they're all 5-2. So I'm going to say Philadelphia is 1, Detroit's 2, Tampa's 3, and I'm going to go, believe it or not, I'm going to go the Rams as 4, only because of Matthew Stafford. The 49ers, smoke and mirrors, man, but they're doing it. So I like the 49ers. I like the Packers at 6. And I'm going to, and it's a top, and I'm going to go Seattle as 7. Although Dallas, I think, is coming on. But I think at the end of the day, so there's 2 divisions or in each conference, the AFC West, and believe it or not, the NFC West, who have a conglomeration of a really good team. And that's kind of where I am. And that's exciting. Now, there are going to be some surprise. A surprise, a team that's doing well, is Chicago. Minnesota, I mean, you could say the NFC North is a pretty good division too. Minnesota is 3-3, Green Bay's 4-2, and or not Green Bay, but the Bears. What's interesting to me about the Bears is there was a lot of hubbub about the Bears, right? It's like, oh man, yeah, these guys are just on it, and you haven't heard a lot, and it's because I think right now, whatever it looks like, the Chicago Bears have been an improvement. And I think that's a lot of what people like. And if you're a smart coach and you're going to go somewhere, you go to a quarterback or you get a quarterback that you can work with, that fits into what you're doing. And that's a smart coach. Now, right now, there's some coaches out there, there's some teams that are like, whew, boy, if we could have a quarterback right now. So this was an interesting article I ran across, and here's 5 quarterbacks do you bench him or not? So Justin Fields, of course, number one. And I don't look. I told you he was on a tryout. The Jets are not near where they want to get with Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn has. I think you got to give him some time. You just have to. And when you don't really have a quarterback, then you really, it's hard to really get anywhere. And I just don't think Justin Fields is an NFL quarterback, at least not a starting quarterback. I just don't. So yeah, I think he's a guy that you gotta have to part ways with. And you go, well, I think the question is like, what is an NFL starting quarterback? What's an everyday guy? And here's an everyday guy for me in the NFL. There's two attributes that are absolutely the most important thing for a guy to start and stick. You have to throw the ball accurately and on time. So in the right place at the right time. And it doesn't have anything to do with arm strength. I mean, yeah, because you can have a not as strong an arm. And if you know that, then you know you got to get the ball out sooner. You have to get the ball out with a different trajectory than other people. And a whole lot of different arm strengths and styles have massively succeeded in the NFL simply because they threw it on time and they threw it accurately. In the 49ers system, the West Coast system, it's prevalent throughout all of the NFL. There's any guy who's been off of Andy Reid, that West Coast offense, like Patrick Mahomes has a crazy arm. Like it's the Patrick Mahomes version of the West Coast offense, but he gets it out on time and he gets it out in the right place. Most, on a consistent basis, every guy's going to have a bad throw or two or whatever, but consistently week in and week out. And teams are going to challenge you. And the other thing is you got to be able to make all the throws. You have to be able to take shots down the field. By the way, most shots down the field are not longer than 40 yards. And every guy, I'm just telling you, every guy in the NFL has a strong enough arm to throw go routes in the NFL. You're not cranking the ball 70 yards down the field. There's only one time in a game you crank it 70 yards down the field, and that is on a Hail Mary at the end of the game. The game just happens within 40 yards. You don't have enough time to do that. Now, if you get a burner like a Randy Moss who just outrun everyone, yeah, you maybe have to throw 55 yards, but you won't throw it more than that. And so it's not the 55-yard, it's the cover two in the hole shot along the sideline. It's throwing the ball accurately down the middle of the field. It's throwing comebacks and curls and slant routes and out routes and from all the different angles and all the different places on the field. And if you can't do that consistently, you cannot play in the NFL. It's to me why Jalen Hurts, I think, is one of the most amazing turnarounds I've ever seen as a quarterback. Because the guy figured out how to throw the football. I don't know when he did it. I don't know who helped him do it, but he did it. And it was huge. And Justin Fields does not do that. And it's not hard. And these quarterbacks who want to run, I'm just telling you, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get worn out. RG3, who is a Heisman Trophy winner, fashion, icon, whatever he is, hyped up analyst, he couldn't consistently do that. He could run. Andre Ware won the Heisman Trophy, threw for a bazillion yards, could not do it. Akili Smith could not do it. A lot of guys just consistently in the NFL. And it's different because the windows are different, the looks are different, the reads are different, and if you don't get it, you can't do it. So there's a lot of guys, and a guy like Kirk Cousins figured it out. And Kirk Cousins maybe has marginal talent, but not throwing the football and not throwing it in the right place, not understanding where to throw it, how to throw it, all that stuff. There's a lot of guys played a lot of years. Dave Craig. Dave Craig was an enigma, but he could throw the football and he could put it in the right spot when he had to. and it was beautiful. And he played a bazillion years. A bazillion. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We got a little, let's see. We have, this is going to be a fun one. You're going to like this. We're going to decide which coaching job would be better, Penn State or Florida. Before we go, though, I got to tell you about my friends at Weight Vision. They're amazing. I see clearly now. I do. And it's awesome. And I had a procedure done, and they were amazing. It's 15 minutes is all it took. It was, minimally invasive. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but I was awake, and I had very little downtime, and man, I can see like nobody's business. And it's awesome. They'll take care of you. Just go check them out. Weightvision.com, WAITE vision.com. More to come here on the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, ESPN 700, 921 FM. I appreciate you tuning in. Oh, man. It's just hard when your team is just not that great. I hate losing. Can't stand it. I just despise losing. Despise it. I do this thing with I play these games, on my phone from time to time. And if I lose the game, I just reset it until I win. That's how much I hate losing. It's like, and if I have a game that won't let me do that, I just delete it until I find, so it's games like solitaire or backgammon or cribbage or, just the games that I like to play. Anyways. Okay. So Martin, my ever esteemed producer, who was on vacation, by the way, for 10 days.
Yes, I was.
He's back now. So glad to have Martin back. Appreciate Zach. Zach was awesome, very helpful. But Martin's my guy. Anyways, he goes home to Chicago and had a good time. So you had a nice time, Martin?
I had a blast. It was good to go home, spend some time with friends and family, get a little break in. I had a good time watching baseball games, high school games, all that stuff. It was a blast. It really
So,
was.
so you had pizza, right? Is that the thing? Like, what's the go-to food for you when you go back home to Chicago?
Who's the number one go to would probably be any of the places I went to as a kid. Like there's a great Jewish deli place. It's
Huh?
Manny's Deli. I love I love their corned beef sandwiches. Chicago deep
Ooh.
dish pizza. We did have it, but I'm a guy that eats tavern style pizza, and what that is, Scott, is instead of
Sausage.
cutting a pizza in triangles, you cut it three ways, left and right. You make little squares out of it. You make
Oh,
squares cuts of pizza. It's so good. It's a
all
really
right.
good way to eat pizza. But yeah, ate those Chicago hot dogs, Italian beefs. I had the good old classic Chicago food. My mom's cooking was amazing to eat. All the Mexican food I was eating, it was amazing. It was delicious. So it was an absolute blast. There's no doubt that I was getting spoiled with food every single day for 10 days.
I'm happy for you. Good for you. All
Yeah,
right. So,
I appreciate that.
so Martin has brought up this question, and I love this question. This is a great question. If you were given the pick of these two Power Four teams, which one would you choose? Penn State or Florida? Of course, James Franklin was the head coach at Penn State for almost 10 years, won over 100 games. And of course, Florida is looking for their fifth full time head coach since
Yeah.
Urban Meyer left the program.
Yeah, so I put that in there. It's their fifth full time head coach, Scott. Minusing their little quick interim
Interim
head
and
coaches.
yeah.
If you included those guys, this would be their eighth head coach since Urban Meyer left the program, and that was in 2010. Eight coaches in 15 years.
So this is, for me, what this is fascinating. Okay, so if you go to Penn State, what was the last time Penn State won a national championship? 1994.
I think 86 was that 86 against Miami
Yeah.
with
I think they won. I think they won one with Kerry Collins.
maybe.
Anyways, that's kind of and it's an incredible atmosphere. I mean, it's a very much a college town. It's definitely a storied program. But I don't know that Penn State has been really relevant. They've kind of been the third wheel in the Big Ten. You're always going to be competing against Ohio State and Michigan. And now, who knows what Indiana becomes. But you're always going to lose. Like you're always going to lose to Ohio State and Michigan. Now, when I say always, the question again, the question is about money these days. And I was impressed with Penn State when Utah played them in the Rose Bowl. I was like, they've got athletes. They play really hard. This is a pretty darn good football team right here. And of course, they were good that year. I mean, because they did go to the Rose Bowl. It would be challenging, but man, boy, would it be exciting because I'm not sure there's a better atmosphere than a whiteout game at Penn State. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And there is a tremendous tradition there. Like, and I love the idea of that tradition. I love the idea of having a passionate fan base. Now you get to Florida, and Florida has won some national championships and recently. Pennsylvania is a good ground for talent, but Florida, meaning the state of Florida, is utopia. There's probably not a better place to recruit in the country than Florida. And to be Florida in Florida, and if you get it right, you get the right coach in there, you get the Steve Spurrier coach, you get the Urban Meyer coach. It's proven that different people can win championships at Florida. I know that James Frank, he did a phenomenal job. And I know he got past the Joe Paterno, Jerry Sandusky thing, which was horrible. It was just a bad thing. In fact, Joe Paterno probably was at Penn State about 20 years too long. I mean, he was there forever. And he was great. And that is one thing that you kind of go, maybe there is a lot of patience at Penn State. Maybe there isn't anymore. I don't know because they got rid of James Franklin, but it's a tough call because I would say Penn State maybe a longer tradition, but certainly hasn't won national championships recently. Tremendous fan base, one of the top programs in the country, well respected. You can find quality. You get a lot of good people that come out of Penn State. So you're going to coach good people, players. Florida, maybe not so much. I mean, you have gosh, I can't even remember his name now. The tight end who
Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez. I want to call him Trevor something, but it was Aaron Hernandez. Thank you. So that it's a tough job. Now I've been to games in Gainesville before Utah played there, and I love the atmosphere of Florida, and it's a fan base that has about the patience of like a cat. Like it's just not entertain me quickly or I'm out. And it's a tough fan base, but oh boy, and I'm and then for me. I think you'd have a little bit more safety at Penn State. I think you'd have a bigger upside at Florida. I'd rather be in the weather, the good weather, than the Penn State weather. I think for me, I probably would go with Florida. I mean, I lived in Florida. I love living in Florida. I know a lot of people in Florida, so the connections. If I'm just talking about myself purely, it's like. And I think if you're the right person in Florida, you can really do well. You can attract a lot of talent. So there you have it. I'm picking Florida. I love the question. All right, we're done for today. Thank you for tuning in. Really enjoyed today and enjoy all of you and have a great day. The Sean O'Connell Show's next. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Until then, we'll see you then.
Nice job, Scott. I'll disconnect with you and I'll connect you in the fan, okay? See you then.